hear me? Yes. Okay, my name is Fran Dvorkin, and I am a member of the Chicago YIVO Board of Trustees. Thank you to Terry Campbell and to the Prospect Heights Public Library for being such gracious hosts, even providing us with drinks and cookies. Thank you so much. And providing this beautiful new venue. The Chicago YIVO Society is a local affiliate of the YIVO Institute for Jewish Research. The mission of Chicago YIVO is to entertain and to educate the local community through subsidized lectures, music programs, and film screenings that reflect the rich heritage and diversity of Jewish culture, and to ensure the future of Yiddish through language education. Please go to our website, chicagoyivo.org, for more information and to become a member or a donor. Your financial support helps bring us programming such as we have today. And today on our program, we have Cantor Pavel Roytman, who is a native of Ukraine. In 1994, Cantor Roytman immigrated to the United States, where he obtained his Bachelor of Music in Voice Performance from DePaul University and Master of Music in Musicology from Northwestern University. In Chicago, Cantor Roytman has performed as a conductor and a soloist with Kol Zimra Jewish Community Singers and Queen of All Saints Basilica Choir. Cantor Roytman currently serves as the cantor for Beth Hillel B'nai Emunah, a conservative, egalitarian congregation in Wilmette, Illinois. With him is Sofi Fraser. She is Chicago-based composer, pianist, and vocalist who is well known for being an ambassador of Ukrainian culture in Europe, Canada, and the U.S. Born in the Ukraine, Sofi began her music career at the age of 6, performing as a child and appearing in concerts and festivals there. Sofi works as an educator at the Creative Minds Academy in Chicago, where she teaches piano and voice to children. She also assists as an accompanist and vocal coach to Hazelmeter Jewish Teen Choir, Temple Jeremiah in Northfield, and Or Shalom Congregation in Vernon Hills. Please help me in welcoming our program.
Amen. Shalom and welcome to our presentation. We are honored to be here today. In 2022, during the Russian invasion of Ukraine, a century-old patriotic song, Oi u luzi chervona kalina, or In the Meadow a Red Viburnum, gained popularity as a song of resistance and hope. As such, the song was universally accepted as quintessentially Ukrainian. Yet, in a number of ways, it resembled a Jewish tune, one by Cantor, Yosef Rosenblatt, Shir Hamalot. Could it be that Rosenblatt's tune and the Ukrainian song came from the same source? Knowing of Rosenblatt's Ukrainian origins while comparing the songs side by side, as you have heard in the beginning of the show, suggests that both tunes have roots in the music and culture of Ukraine. It turns out that Rosenblatt was not the only composer whose music reflected Ukrainian malice and vibe. There were others like him, immigrants and children of immigrants from Eastern Europe, cantors, composers whose settings emulated Ukrainian song in expression of uniquely Jewish sentiments and feelings. And so today we will look at some of these compositions and consider their origins and roots. We'll learn about the music and shed a positive light on the historically complex relationship between the Ukrainians and the Jews. May all that we learn here today enable us to continue building bridges between our people as we go forth in search of a more harmonious and peaceful tomorrow. I would like to thank my dear friend Sofi Fraser, originally from Lviv, Ukraine, for lending her expertise in creating this show and in joining me for this program. A part of Eastern Europe, which at different times in history was referred to as Russia, Poland, or the Ukraine, was a cradle of Chazanut, Hasidut, and Yiddish folk music. Jews lived among the Ukrainians, and as a result there was a musical exchange. This was confirmed by musicologists Idelson, Beregovsky, Slobin, and others who identified specific elements of Ukrainian folk song. One of these elements was the Ukrainian Dorian, a musical scale similar to Dorian scale that sounds something like this. Sounds Jewish, no? Here is one Ukrainian song that comes from the mountain region of Karpaty that features Ukrainian Dorian at its core. Oh, the Ukrainian Dorian scale. Found in both Ukrainian and Jewish music, it makes us ponder on the mystery of who influenced whom. Do you know? She doesn't. The same mystery is true for the malice of the Ukrainian song, for it gives us a fuzzy feeling of the familiar, the emotional expressiveness similar to that of Yiddish music. Just listen to these two lullabies, one Ukrainian, one Jewish, and feel the sameness of sweet lyricism and emotional expression in both. This was a Tiki song, Quiet Dream, a Ukrainian lullaby or a koliskova. A Yiddish lullaby, Unter Baber, Under the Tree, evokes similar imagery and emotional response. It was written by Alexander Orshanetsky, a prominent Jewish American composer born in Odessa in 1892. Olshanetsky lived and performed in Ukraine and Russia before immigrating to the US in 1922. His lullaby was featured in the 1940 movie Darvina Shotchazan, made popular by Cantor, another musical star born near the Ukrainian border. Can you hear the guitar? That's great. Wachsen Rosen, und die weiße Windenrosen schlossen sie und die weiße Windenrosen schlossen sie sitzt mein Kind hier bei dem Fenster, was du kennst den Winter viel, und ich will nicht du, mein Schönster, sollst vor Liebe sich verkühlen. Himmel ist schon klarne schwarz, und das soll wie du bei mir in Hals. Unter Bären wachsen Rosen, und die weiße Windenrosen schlossen Sonne und die weiße Windenrosen schlossen Sonne Schlopsche meine Kind, oi Herz meines, Eilulu, bleib mir gesund. Olshanetsky was one of many Jewish musicians and composers who were either born in Ukraine or came from the families of naturalized Ukrainian Jews. One of these was George Gershwin, whose parents came to America from Ukraine. He too could have been exposed to Ukrainian music as a child. Here is one Ukrainian tune that might have inspired his music writing later in his life. heard is over 100 years old. So again, interesting. It was not only the professional composers of Ukrainian descent who incorporated the flavors of motherland into their music, but also the Ukrainian Hasidim who adopted the elements of Ukrainian folk song and sometimes the entire songs themselves into the body of their musical tradition. Where would this type of musical exchange have taken place? Anybody wants to guess? Not in the ghetto.
The taverns.
That was a different kind of exchange.
The taverns. The taverns.
The taverns. Well, it is well known that klezmer musicians adopted Ukrainian tunes as they played for weddings and celebrations for both Jews and non-Jews. And as some of you noticed, and she's not a plant, even though I know her name, it is possible that the exchange would happen at the place of common gathering, like a tavern, for example, where Jews and Gentiles could gather and even share a drink, just like they did in the famous musical.
To life, l'chaim, 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 to life. If you've been lucky, then Monday was no worse than Sunday was. Bring l'chaim to life, l'chaim, 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 to life. One day it's honey and raisin cake, next day a stomach cake. Bring l'chaim to life. Great men have written words of wisdom to be used when hardship must be faced. Life obliges us with hardship, so the words of wisdom shouldn't go to waste. To us and our good fortune, be happy, be healthy, long life. And if our good fortune never comes, here's to whatever comes. Drink l'chaim to life, to life, to life, l'chaim, 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 to life. Life has a way of confusing us, blessing and bruising us. Drink l'chaim to life, l'chaim, 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 to life. A gift we seldom are wise enough, never no price enough. Bring l'chaim to life. God would like us to be joyful, even though our hearts lay drifting on the floor. How much more can we be joyful when there's really something to be joyful for? To life, l'chaim, 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 to life. It gives you something to think about, something to drink about. Bring l'chaim to life.
At the end of the century, that would be last century, 85% of all drinking establishments in Poland and Ukraine were owned by Jews. In addition, it was estimated that between 30 to 40% of Jewish families worked in the liquor industry. Did you know that? You did, right? There you go. So it is no wonder that some Ukrainian drinking songs ended up being adapted into the Jewish music repertoire. A good example of this is a song, Stawia Pitu u Piatnicu, which means I began to drink on Friday. This song, this is a real, honestly good song. This song was included into the Lubavitch Chabad anthology with a few other Ukrainian songs, sung with the original text. And this is how it goes. The original Ukrainian text goes like this. I'll speak with Ukrainian accent so that you can. I began to drink on Friday, and I had drunk my calf away. One must know how to be merry and how to keep one's mouth shut when drunk. Now, Chabad took it from there and added the following. It is exactly in these moments when we feel broken and downtrodden that we can look to Hashem for help. We can then begin to drink from a different source, a cup of knowledge of the toilet. Songs of Yiddish Chabad are very near and dear to me. After all, I was born in Mykolaiv, Ukraine, the capital of Yiddish Chabad Nivunim, religious melodies without words, the birthplace of the great Lubavitcher Rebbe Schneerson. And while personally I don't come from a Hasidic family, I grew up listening to Nivunim. My grandfather used to sing those to me when I was a little boy. Years later, out of this memory came a tune that I called Dido's Nigun, the grandfather's melody. I wrote it shortly after the beginning of the war as a dedication to Ukraine and my childhood. My grandfather's melody, some of the melodies of Chabad, and numerous songs written by American Jewish composers all have roots in the music and culture of Ukraine. We recognize and cherish this connection. Today, in the times of war, it is particularly important to us to acknowledge our joint cultural heritage as we support Ukrainians as brethren and friends. And although throughout history our relationship has been a complicated one, today gives us an opportunity to repair and rebuild. As a clergyman and a human being, I believe that we can build a new future together, one in which the Cossacks and the pogroms are the relics of the past, and where mutual respect and peaceful coexistence are at the core. I see it happening today through the mighty efforts of support for Ukraine by Jewish organizations, including my own community, Beth Hillel Bnei Emunah, Jewish United Fund, and others. I also see it in the way in which many Ukrainians now see Jews as friends and allies in their fight for freedom. And that gives me hope for a better tomorrow. May it come soon. Kenny Hewitt song.
So this song was dedicated for Ukraine once the war started.
Yeah.
And music, lyrics by Cantor, Pavel, Roytman.
Just for beautiful music.
Thank you very much. Thank you to YIVO. Thank you to Fran. Thank you so much. We have a Q&A.
Can you tell us how many Jews are left in Ukraine and how many synagogues?
I cannot tell you. I do not have the statistic. Most Jews in the war areas were evacuated to Israel. There's Chabad presence, as always. I can tell you that in my hometown of Mykolaiv, Ukraine, there's a Chabad, small Chabad shul, and their main job is to provide drinking water and medicine to people with, diabetes, etc., etc. There are Jews also who fight, in the Ukrainian army on the Ukrainian side, chaplains, gunners, you name them.
There is a Chabad in Kennesaw, Atlanta, Georgia, with the Rabbi Zalman Charlatan. And I'm wondering, because I saw the name was the same, he rescued one of my grandchildren.
Oh, sure. Thank you for sharing. Yes, sir.
At the same time that the Ukrainians were running Cantor, in St. Petersburg, there was a big Jewish music group. Was there any impact of the St. Petersburg group, which was a major classical music phenomenon on the Jews of Odessa, Kiev, and places like that?
So the St. Petersburg group was created, actually, believe it or not, with the help of a Russian Orthodox, non-Jewish musical critic by the name of Stasov. So the Society for Jewish Folk Music in St. Petersburg was created as an afterthought, looking at the Mighty Five on the Russian side, and Stasov essentially said to, I believe it was Mordechai Gebertik, he said to him, why don't you Jews have your own ethnic society? And because in St. Petersburg and Moscow, Jews were not, they were outside of the pale of settlement, so only a few Jews could be there. I don't know if you know this, for example, but there are two major conservatories in Russia. One is a St. Petersburg Conservatory of Music, and then there's a Moscow Conservatory of Music. So Moscow Conservatory of Music is named Tchaikovsky Conservatory, and St. Petersburg Conservatory is named Rimsky-Korsakov Conservatory. But in reality, both conservatories were established by Rubinstein brothers, who were Jews and converted to Christianity at some point, but because they were Jewish, it was not seeming to Russians to have a Jewish name in the conservatory. Anyway, so when they were told that they can now create their own ethnic music society in St. Petersburg, they went song shopping. And they went song shopping to Pale of Settlement. So Moshe Beregovsky, for example, who was not a part of the society, he was a musicologist, he took an ethnological trip to Ukraine. Specifically, he gathered a lot of music in Kamenets-Podolsky, he gathered a lot of music in around Vinnytsia, and he brought some of this music back to St. Petersburg because they needed materials to create from. A lot of these people did not grow up in the shtetl, right? And so I would say the impact was the opposite. It was the shtetl that impacted the group until the group, actually not dissimilar to YIVO, when the war started, the group relocated to Lithuania and then Poland, Warsaw, etc. Right. So I hope I answered your question.
You did indeed.
I came prepared. Any other questions, concerns, complaints, suggestions?
No complaints.
Thank you so much to Prospect Heights Public Library, to Terry, and to everybody attending. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and come to our concerts.
Thank you.
Have a lovely day.
To life, l'chaim, 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 to life. If you've been lucky, then Monday was no worse than Sunday was. Bring l'chaim to life, l'chaim.